Hi guys.
Hello.
Hi.
Isn't it too late to have a class this time?
No,
Not anymore.
not too early or too late.
Cool. So I before I start, I really want to know you guys and know what you guys are into. So I don't talk about things that you don't care about.
We're all gamers.
All gamers.
Almost. Everyone in ACS.
Yeah?
No.
Except
Cool. How many people,
You play 2K.
yeah, that counts.
That counts. That's definitely a game.
how many people code? How many people animate? Okay. C#? Yeah. JavaScript? Who knows what WebSockets are?
Touched on it, yeah.
Okay. Who has released a game? Come on, you have all the time in the world. What are you doing?
We have to go class.
Where?
Do it now. When this shit is done, you have no time.
We made a lot of games, but we didn't release it.
So I'm gonna talk about non-games because it's probably what you end up doing after you're done with this. Some people might go to design or develop games, but most of us end up doing things that are not as cool. So I want to see how much Unity you guys know and how fast you guys work, and if you guys have done any projects that might include more than one person. And we want to think about how to translate that to like a project that people do outside of the development world or design world. Usually when you start getting a project, you have to work with people who don't understand Unity, don't understand design. So their knowledge is basically business. They think about like how they want to make something that other people are interested, or how to measure the success of a project, whether it's a game or some sort of a marketing thing or whatever it is. So before you start building a game, you have to like come up with concepts and pitch it and like be like, hey, I think this is cool and it will work because of this and that, right? So maybe let's go over a few ideas, and then whichever sticks to you most, just like makes noise. Yeah? Do something? Okay. So, for example, VR is hot right now. Everyone wants VR. Everyone's like, what is this VR thing? We want it. They've never tried it, they've never built it, they've never done it. They just heard that it's cool and everyone likes it. So they're gonna ask you that, hey, build one for us. Like, how does it work? What do you do? So you have to start with mocking up things that make sense to them. Like, hey, there is gonna be like an area with a bunch of people standing wearing headsets, but because headsets are very isolating, like no one else sees what you're seeing, other people who are standing around wouldn't be able to like participate or understand what's going on or like connect to you. So you need to build other environments or other screens that would basically take that experience and show it to everyone else. So people who are watching you understand what you're going through. And then they're gonna probably come back to you and be like, hey, we don't have the budget to build all these like fancy LED walls. They're like gonna be 2 million or whatever. Make it smaller, right? And then after that, you start talking about, okay, what the actual experience is, how to prototype it, how to build it. Best way to do it is like, just like render it in 3D or like show them a video. And then they see it, they understand it, they can connect to it, they can, oh, okay, But no, I don't want that, I want this, our companies want to emphasize this and that. So you don't want to spend a lot of time building stuff, you want to like find ways to communicate the idea as quickly as possible instead of going deep in C# and building something and showing it to them and they'd be like, no. And then you have to go back to square one and build everything from scratch, which is like another week or two. Let's go over some idea boards, like see which one sounds cool to you, and then we probably like jump into Unity real quick and I'll show you a project that I recently built for another company that could basically help you with like how things work in a professional environment. So for example, this one, we are like, how can we like use particle systems and create like a dashboard for people to like build an airplane using data. So it's not like an airplane, it's data, it's like a data visualization. You can see like the green means something, the purple means something else, and like how it flies is based on the data that we feed to the system. Another data visualization idea is that you put a Kinect camera. How many of you know what Kinect is? Yeah. You put a Kinect camera and then you get depth out of it, right? And what that depth gives you is basically where you can map data to. That would finally create a shape that looks like the person in front of the camera, right? So you can take whatever data you have and then create visualizations using that depth data that's very interesting to the person in front of the camera. So it's like a cool activation. It's like a magic mirror or whatever. But you're still sending a message that, for example, we are a data company with visualized data. The data from the last year shows this and that, right? But in a cool way. So these are like the marketing stuff that people would ask you to like ideate or design. Amazon tried to do something cool for Einstein Voice. Let's see if it works. I'll probably have to go to the presentation. So they built a game type of experience.
Alexa, turn on the fan.
Safe site has been compromised.
Alexa, show us the garage camera.
Oh no!
Oh, Alexa, show me my calendar.
Alexa, change the light to blue.
Down, left, right.
Yes!
Come on!
A bit cheesy, but so you can see like how they use the gaming concept and brought something that's super boring like Amazon Echo to a cool experience, right? Like it's like an escape game, but you have to use Alexa to find the path or like crack the code or whatever. So all of these things are like applicable in like retail environments. For example, retail right now, no one goes to the mall anymore usually. I don't know, it's LA here, but like, everyone orders stuff online. So all these retail spaces are like, what are we gonna do now? No one's gonna come here, we're gonna go out of business. So they're gonna think about turning their retail space into experiential spaces. So you go there to have an experience. You go there to do something cool, or like it's a party, there's like interactive stuff. So future of retail is gonna be very close to like a game that's like fun to play. You go there, it scans your body, it gives you recommendations on style and like sizes, and gives you like opportunities to come up with like something that's personalized to you, so you feel good about what you're buying, it relates to your identity or whatever. They're gonna do like party times, like VJs using VR. Silent disco is gonna be cool. Tracking, augmented reality for like runways or fashion shows. Lots of photo opportunities using like projection to do cool stuff, projecting patterns on your clothes or whatever, creating photo ops. You're gonna see lots of shiny LEDs everywhere. Entrance of the mall would be like this interactive thing that you walk through and it glows or whatever. You're gonna see like displays that are not the conventional computer screens. It's like spherical or like in different shapes or form. Think about like designing for those, right? Think about how you can render out of Unity to map to that surface. How do you do that? Like these are things that we need to think about, right? How do you make a touchscreen surface out of a wall or like a table or something that's not touchscreen on itself? But think about like using Kinect cameras or laser or whatever. People love to take things home. And if we are thinking about personalizing their experience, we want to give them takeaways, right? How can you scan someone in 3D and then use lasers to print their faces into like these like whatever, plastic cubes or crystal cubes, right? Robots are cool. Robots are gonna come, hopefully, right? Soon. AI is gonna be big. Mixing robot and AI, you could do a lot of physical games, but like digital mindset, you know, like the robot has another Kinect camera or laser camera or LiDAR scanning the ping pong ball and then reacting to it, right? So it's the same as like using AI agent in Unity to like create the enemy to like follow whatever you're doing and like hit back or something, and then you just translate that data in 3D space to the robot, and robot emulates it in physical space. So whatever you see in a physical world, you can build an emulator in Unity to, before like purchasing another $1 million robot, you could like build the logic in Unity for it. Party time, like you could do a lot of cool stuff with lights. Get used to mapping your content into displays that are cool, not just like regular displays. Think about non-digital. Food is a good example. Printing on top of coffee with chocolate or foam or whatever is hot. Everyone wants that. 3D printing itself is big, right? And then games, gamify your experiences. So people usually like go to these events or I don't know, places, and they want to have fun. So knowing the game concepts and like how to take something that's boring and turn it into something fun would help you along the way. And then scale. Like think about projection. Like everyone has a tablet, everyone has a computer at home, right? How can you create an experience that's like from another world for people? Like think bigger, project. Like use like surfaces that are curved or like non-traditional. Create experiences that use those environments, basically. And you can always like prototype in VR, right? So you don't have the space, you 3D model it in VR, and then you use like a light source in Unity, you project to it. it's like projecting into a real world space. Be artsy, use your talent to pick a good palette, not like these people. Make sure that whatever you build looks good, like color-wise. Like I think this would be more popular than this. I might be wrong. A lot of Chinese companies are really good at coming up with displays that we usually don't see because that's what they do. They build LED balls and LED cubes and LED spheres or whatever. So always Google and be open to order or like study companies that are not in the US. Concerts are big, right? Like mapping, making shows basically is gonna be very popular. Every concert out there is nowadays basically a game. I'll show you more. Again, projection mapping is gonna be still big till LED displays take over, right? At that point, no one's gonna bother with projection more. So this one is like the comparison, right? Like this is a projection. You can see how dim it is, or like not as sharp, but these are like LED balls. It's just like super bright and crisp. So the quality that these two different platforms offer is very important to how you design things, how you develop things. Think about holograms. What is this thing? It keeps popping up. So there is this thing, hypervision. Have you guys heard of hypervision? No? Look it up. It's like it's like an LED fan that you basically grid up. So you put a whole bunch of them next to each other and they start spinning really fast. To the point that you don't see them spinning anymore. And then they create this transparent display that looks just fucking awesome. It's like, it's cool as fuck. So you wanna be on top of these type of technologies because no matter how cool your experience is, right? The stuff that you're building in Unity or design or whatever, and you put it on a display like this, it's gonna go to the next level. People are gonna be like, holy fuck, what is this thing?
And it all loads up.
Yeah. So yeah, like not only you have to know the latest Unity version or what's going on trend-wise in design and development, but you also think about, okay, after you're done building this, where is it gonna go, right? So let me see what else we have here. And then we are gonna jump to Unity. Yeah, like face masks, right? Everyone wants one now. Just like learn how to do it. Facebook already released the tool sets for you guys to do it without Unity, right? Or like ARKit does it too. Oh, this thing is cool. So the LED thing that I was showing you, right? Now imagine stacking them up, but super thin LEDs and spinning it. What you're gonna get is not only the holographic layer, but many layers of holographic displays on top of each other, and that would give you like a 3D display, right? So you can render in 3D. I don't know if it makes sense. Does it make sense? Yeah. This thing is $10,000. That's the little glove thingy. Um, so ask Anna to buy one.
Can you request it? Can you request it?
Yeah, this, look it up. It's called VX1 volumetric display. They actually built a Unity game for it, like a ping pong thing. It's amazing. Yeah, and then like think about utility, right? Like serving a purpose. Outside of the cool factor, you want to make sure that you build something that delivers information, helps people in a certain way, or has a purpose, I guess, right? So you get paid. And then at the end, when you build something that's cool and beautiful and big and people enjoy it, you're gonna be famous, right? And you wanna get there. So let's switch back to Unity. This is like a project that we did. Let me show you guys a video of it real quick. It's a HoloLens project for a medical company. So they 3D print. They didn't 3D print. They built this giant brain, and then created an experience in augmented reality to sit on top of it. So basically, you can see what's inside the brain. So first thing first, you have to calibrate. You have to calibrate your content in 3D to the physical world, to a point that it matches, right? And for that, you use like Vuforia, markers, you know? You scan the marker, you know where the marker is, and then you can match that content on top of it. And then, for example, put labels in or whatever, and there is like animations that happen that showcase like whatever you're trying to teach using that augmented reality experience. Let's see what else we have. You have to like try and fail many times. Make sure that what you think makes sense also makes sense to someone who has never seen HoloLens, right? You put a HoloLens on for the first time, you don't know what's going on. So make it as easy and intuitive as possible. Try to reduce the number of clicks you have to do, the number of commands that you have to do to get from one point to another. Like this one, as you walk around the object, the brain, different things happen, just out of the box. It goes to one mode and then goes to another mode. So let's jump to it real fast, and then I'll start talking to you guys again. I want to know what you guys think and what's cool in your opinion. So first of all, you can't have a physical brain, right, in Unity. So we are going to put a digital brain and pretend that this thing is going to be what we will map the content to. So we can work here and then assume that whenever we are done, this digital brain will fit on top of the physical. And then you're going to bring the content in, right? And the contents are usually 3D files that you just turn on or off, right? Based on the user interactions. So you have like different scenes or different levels of the game, basically, that you have to understand how to load and unload without having this tiny device to fry, because it doesn't have a good CPU, as you know. It doesn't have that much memory. So for that, we built a state machine. Do you know what state machine is? Yeah, everyone? Cool, you guys are pro, you're hired. So the state machine looks at the state of the game and manages your assets, right? Manages the animations, when they should start, when they should stop. How many people have used timeline? No. Okay. Where is the timeline? Who knows? Window. I have it somewhere. Animation, sequencing, timeline. So timeline is great because you can do a lot of different animations and like layer them on top of each other. And then you can also animate code. May not make sense, but for example, you can set different scripts to active or deactivated, and then in your mono behavior, you can say unactivate or unenable, do this, or undisable, do that. And that would how you translate something from like a 3D animation to a twin or like a C# based animation or event. So, and also you can like manage your audios, right? If you have like a lot of audios that have to play at certain times, you can kind of time it. And this is amazing. It's kind of new, like late 2017, and it helps to connect the designers to developers, because when you go to a professional environment, you're gonna have like 5 designers that hate each other and 5 developers that don't agree with each other. And you have to like work with all of these people. So you just like divide tasks. You do this, you do that, and then we bring everything to this timeline thing, and then the time. So this is like, the first part is like whatever Jack worked on, and the next part is whatever Emily worked on, which is the 3D code, and then we bring them all together and have like, right? And then what else? Let's see if shaders. How many people have written shaders? Be friends with that guy.
Not like actual code, but just visual scripting.
Yeah. The new one, the 2018 one, has a shader graph or whatever. Yeah, but like learn how to actually write shaders, it goes a long way. Let's see. I wrote a cool one. It loads. So when you think about deploying to like little computers, like mobile phones and HoloLens or Magic Leap or whatever, you want to offload your work as much as possible to the shaders, because usually the graphic cards are better than CPUs. So you get a better experience overall. And the best way to think about shaders is like, if CPU thinks this, then this, then this, GPU thinks like all of this, all of this, all of this, right? Because what happens is that you, for every vertex, basically you execute the same code. So if you have 2 million vertices, you're executing this shader code 2 million times per every frame, right? Something like that. Like the GPU basically calculates the lighting of every pixel every time you render, and that goes through the shader, right? So think if you have that mindset, then you would understand them better a bit, but that shader graph would help too. I'm gonna stop talking a bit. Tired. You guys can ask questions, and then if you guys wanted to do something or like had like a specific question or something, we can probably even code it. Maybe, I don't know. What do you guys think? Come on. So from all of these things that we talked about, like, which part do you guys think you want to be doing? Go for it.
Integration. I like building things. I like working with my hands as much as I like building as well. So that sort of thing. It's not just one aspect. You're able to keep your mind out of a single scope because I'm sure, as you know, like if you program too much, you end up in your head, just in your head. You can't really re-scope out of that. To me, that's like the coolest thing because I like big scale, diverse projects. So I thought that the LED fans were cool.
Just force you guys. Yeah, go for it.
Beginning you said most of us will end up doing like a non-game in Unity. Like why you say, what's the reason?
Because games usually don't make that much money until it's like a AAA game that's like super famous or something. And those teams you don't usually hire people out of school, like fresh. Yeah, so you may join like a startup or something who is building a smaller game, right?
Yeah.
But the best way to learn is to do things that are like less risky, like simpler, which is basically experiences that corporate companies want. For example, Salesforce hired another agency and we helped them to build like games for their convention. And these games are like super simple but have like some sort of a, they're not going to be published, they're going to be displayed at that event only. But like if it's not perfect, it's only running on a single hardware and you know what that hardware is. It's not going to be running on 100 different types of computers all over the world. The testing of that is different, right? So you probably start working on smaller projects, and then as you get better or more experience, the teams that you are interested to work with, they reach out to you.
You're talking about this freelance route, or can you talk about this aspect in relationship to the practice that you're part of, and kind of what really goes into school, doing freelancing, and then running a company with being a CTO and then managing projects on this scale?
Sure. Yeah, okay. So you want to start, when you graduate, you want to find people that you really want to work with, and then whatever project it is, right? I think the team that you pick is very important. And then you want to try to push the boundaries as much as possible. The thing about like going to a workplace is that the people on top are kind of jaded and you are super excited. And getting to a balance between these two is very important for you to be able to navigate, right? So you want to go there and you want to do everything, and they are super jaded and they don't want to do anything. So you end up compromising both sides, basically. You want to use the latest version of everything. They are gonna be using something from last year that they know it works, right? They're like, no, that thing is buggy, we are not gonna use it. You're like, no, it has this feature, I really want to use it. So you're gonna do a lot of that, and then kind of by the time that you're a little bit more jaded like them, you start thinking about okay, let's do something together. Like you probably team up with your coworkers or friends, and then you build some sort of a product or game or something that you care about because you want to do something that you're passionate about, right? And you're tired of other people telling you not to do it. And to be honest, this field that we are in is always fun. Like, you're gonna get jaded eventually, but you're gonna have fun being jaded. It's because like technology is just like improving and new things are gonna come out like every year. And you have to like keep yourself updated and like get these new toys. And it's just like you find yourself playing with new tech like every month. Like leap motion comes, and then you have like finger tracking, and then like another camera comes, and then you have body tracking. And, AI comes, and like you can use any webcam to do body tracking. And you're gonna like implement all of these to your experiences or games or whatever, and make your own products out of it, basically. Yeah. Good answer? Yeah. Management is a different thing. You'll learn it on your own. Next.
Where would you say you are on like the scope of like design or programmer, artist? Where do you fall?
I don't know.
I guess that's an answer too.
Yeah, like depends. Like when you have to put different hats on usually, right? So myself, I studied electronics, like engineering, and then one day I was like, no. So I dropped out, and then I changed my major and studied digital arts. And then at the end, I found myself merging these two, like back and forth. Like, if you are a great coder, but you don't know the principles of design, and your game looks like shit, no one's gonna play it. Say again?
So that's why you need a designer.
Yeah, you are gonna have like multidisciplinary teams, right? But for example, your task is to implement this type of motion, right? Using like a twin library, which is super simple. It's like 4 lines of code, right? But if you have the eye for the animation and know how to ease in and ease out and like kind of blend different animations together, that's when the magic happens. They say like devil is in the detail or something. Like even if someone else designs like uses mocap to like give you like animation tracks, how you blend those animation tracks, like moving from walking to like jumping, or like if it just like walks and then stops and jumps, that's not cool. You want to like drag it, right? You want to like have some dampening. So like those are things that you have to code. Designer's not going to code dynamic animation for you. So having the eye for it is very important.
It's all math for the
Yeah, it's the math. It's like animating using math. Yeah. But at the end, you're going to see it, right? It's going to be on the screen. And then you have to tweak the numbers or the length of the animation or like the algorithm that you're writing.
Just to continue the comment that you made and what you were mentioning, a goal of a program is ultimately it's applied computer science and media arts, and it is a new field. And the idea is that you have a hybrid of programmers hardware, software, with designers. So I know that each of you will find yourself in a different relationship to the technical aspect versus design aspect, but at the end of the day, when you are in multidisciplinary fields, you need to know a little bit of each to be able to communicate with them. So in a sense, that is the whole novelty of a program like this, and that's why it's exciting where people from engineering fields, from different fields, are drawn to this field.
Like a Maya artist that doesn't know Unity, you're gonna probably end up working with them, and you're gonna be very frustrated, right? Because you bring all these high poly models to Unity, and you're like, what am I gonna do with this? But they don't think about it. They don't know. Like to them, it just looks good, right? It's the other way too. Like the coder that doesn't know how to make things pretty and like polished, the design director is gonna be frustrated, right? And be like, it doesn't look good, it doesn't feel right, it doesn't, and then you won't be able to understand what they mean by that, right? So you want to make sure that the artist is like a little bit techy, knows what's going on, like how to export properly, how to bake texture, whatever, and then how to bake AO, or lighting or whatever, because Unity doesn't do a good job usually. I mean, it's better now. Like you want to make sure that they understand. As an artist, you understand those, and as a programmer, you want to make sure that you don't geek out too much to the designers. So, and you're acting artist friendly or artsy a bit, so it's easy to work with you. Next.
What's the difference between the timeline and the Unity's Mechanim animation system? It's very similar.
Mechanim is like kind of event-based, right? Like you can create like a decision tree from idle to running and blah, blah, blah. And it does the blending. It's perfect for character animation. This is more of a storytelling app, like tool set. For example, you want to like have your camera to like zoom in to your character while it's talking about like a dramatic experience, and then like zoom out to the car explodes, whatever. So that's, like having like the vision of a director basically to cut between scenes and like do the transitions. You do that with time. It's kind of new. Yeah, it's a cool one. Yeah. Next. Come on.
You showed a lot of examples. Are there specific websites or resources that you subscribe to make sure that you're up to date, or is it just good old Googling?
I usually follow the companies that I care about. Like when you see something cool, just like look up who built it, and then just follow them on their social media, whatever. Everyone has an Instagram or something.
But are there, let's say, so for instance, for tutorials or for mixed reality use, obviously there are some popular websites that they follow. Is there one or a few that you recommend so they can subscribe to?
Sure. Yeah, every different type of tech has its own like hub. Like, for example, for VR stuff, Road to VR is pretty cool. For interactives, I think creativeapplications.net is a good one, right? It's like all pretty stuff. Yeah, sure. Can't think off the top of my head.
Side, because our major is it's emphasized on a really weird spectrum where it's half design, half technical, all weird. What would you recommend scope out of, since we do a lot of programming and in the upper division courses we do a lot of conceptual stuff as well? What do you think would be a good way to gear us towards something that's applicable to basically everything? Like a good broad approach so that when we're put into our first position, because there's obviously no way we can prepare for an actual professional working environment right off the bat, because that just comes with experience. Yeah. What would you recommend?
See my last student project. So this helped me get hired. I built a game and I projection mapped it. So this is like Unity 2 or 3, 2010 or 2008, I guess. I don't remember. So we built a 3D game for Android phones using processing. Let me pause this on the phone. So this is processing, and everyone was like, processing is shit. It's true, but but the cool part was like you could have made something with it super fast and easy, right? So what we did here was like use the gyroscope to figure out the angle and whatever longitude, latitude, using the phone, and then where you click on it and kind of like do some sort of a raycast in a hacky way to figure out what they're trying to hit. We sent a TCP message off the phone to a computer server that was running Unity and projection mapping the whole game. So people clicked on different things, different buttons to pick different objects and then shoot it out. And we basically 3D modeled this building so the physics makes sense. So when something hits the edge, it actually acts like it's hitting the edge of the physical space. And then we brought it to Unity, and then we did the live shadows and everything. So things really looked good, kinda, for like a month-long project, or 2 months, whatever. And then I took this and I showed it to people, and they loved it, and they hired me. Even though it was like conceptually not that great, like what's the point of this? But like it shows like some technical aspects, right? Like from networking between a phone to a computer, right? Like doing the whole server thing, parsing the messages, the commands, sending back and forth, syncing spatially between a phone and a 3D space mapped in a physical space. So take a project, in my opinion, team up and build it. You're gonna have a great time doing it, and then people are gonna just see the energy coming off of you after you're done building it and be impressed. So yeah, do that, why not? You have very flexible teachers that would let you like combine your times from different classes and do a project-based assignment or something, probably. Yeah.
How many people worked on this project?
2.
And were you
3.
involved?
2.5. One person ditched in the middle. Never forget. Yeah.
Were you all from like the same kind of background and?
Yeah, it was the same class. One person was better at writing Java or whatever processing. The other person was better at Unity. We divided tasks. We designed how the messages should be back and forth. We prototyped it, and then we built on top of it.
So it seems you use a lot of project map. Like is this all the project map?
Yeah, it's one projector.
Yeah. So
But like the other project that I was showing you, with the big one, this one. This one is like 24 projectors. See how big this wall is? But it's like coming out of Unity and a browser combined, going to a system called Coolix, and Coolix is doing the projection. Basically.
So it's like stitching. Yeah.
Stitching, coming up with blends and whatever. I think it's it's a Germany-based company. Let's go.
It's Christie's.
Yeah,
It's Christie's
Christy bought it?
software. It's Christie's software.
They buy everything. Yeah.
Christie's is the best brand of projectors. The best professional projectors are Christie's.
Yeah. So we're gonna get one. We're gonna get
$10,000. Because it's hard to get a Christie for less than $100,000.
We can sell all the projectors.
All we need is
Sell the
Fundraiser.
school and
We
buy
just
a
need one
Christie's
good one.
Yeah,
So how do you evaluate success in your projects? Is there a checklist that for you is important, or is it vary project to project?
It definitely varies from project to project. The most important part is like the reaction from people who experience your game or whatever, and how many thumbs up you get out of them, in my opinion.
So this was first time where you were able to have a crowd of people experiencing that.
Wow factor, people being like, oh, that's what you're gonna like walk out with and be happy about, right? That's gonna fuel you for your next project. When you see that, you're gonna be like, yeah, it was fun. Let's do it again. You know, like you want to get that energy every time. And then the other success factor is how much you get paid. Like reality check, right? You have to be able to sustain yourself in order to keep going. So if you build the coolest game ever and no one plays it and no one pays for it, you're probably not gonna do it again, right? You spend like 1 year, 2 years building something and then it fails. Next time you want to do it, you think more about, okay, economically, how does it going to work out?
What would you say is like the best? Like any projects that you made or something like that?
Talk about it. Basically, send it to people. Hey, I did this. Check it out. Have a social media page. Every social media out there, just have a page. Write about it. Like, it's always good to see the end result, but it's even cooler to know the process or to read about the process, the behind the scenes stuff, and teach other people. I feel like everyone looks up problems, right? And if you're the one showcasing your solution, that's a very good way to be found. Right?
It's the role of whatever you self-teach yourself. Like, for example, so if you don't know how to do something and a client approaches you and says, I want this, you'll take it, right? And then you'll figure it out later. Or not. You know what I mean? And like,
is this being recorded? I can't answer this question right now.
no, we'll take that out.
But there's a balance, right? There's
Yeah, you can't just say, yeah, I can do it and take a job.
No, but I would to ask, like, how much do you self-teach yourself? So one thing is whatever you can be taught at the university or learn at your job, but how do you approach, like, sometimes, so you are constantly learning, right? And improving your skills, and that you do it on your own.
Well, you have to eventually start learning on your own because you stop going to school at some point. And the world keeps moving forward and new things come out and you have to learn it. And to be honest, it's like school is good, but until you actually do it, you won't really know how to do it. So you have to fail. I feel like failing is very important. Like, start failing now when it's safe. Like, just don't be afraid. Just build things and publish. Like, put it on asset store. If you build something for Unity, just put it there for free even, right? See what people say about it, or open source your code, or publish something simple on Apple Store for a phone. See how many people use it. Talk to bloggers to blog about it. And then from the feedback you get, that helps you to like, oh, I needed to do this better. How would I do that? Then you go and search it and learn about it.
So you could say just like a lot of small manageable projects.
Yeah, why not? Steam is already full of shit. Add some more. Who cares? Sorry.
Then how do you document your work? Like, do you do it like phase by phase, or you feel like, oh, there's a success in it, and then I'll just keep that part and then go for it?
It's always painful to document your work. I hate it. Yeah. Usually you get to a point that you have to, because you spent like 6 months of your life building this thing, and you need to talk about it, right? So you force yourself for a week or two to sit down and like remember what you did and write it down. The best way to do it is just to take screenshots as you go. Like write down what you're Googling, all those Stackflow pages that you find, look into this history of your browser. Be like, okay, these were the problems that I had, and I found the solutions, and like compile it into one article on like Medium or something, or on your blog. And that's always good, right? And then at the end, do a polish type of showcase. Like, this is the end result. If it's like a game or something, don't only show the game itself. Play the game. Shoot some video of people playing the game, like having fun, smiling. Think about all these emotions being translated to the viewer, because it's important, right?
Creating jobs for yourself that aren't exactly, one side or the other. Because earlier you said you don't know where you lay on the spectrum of like developer and designer. That's something that like I particularly.
When I was hired, they thought I was a designer. I thought I was a designer. Then turned out that I wasn't a designer. So yeah, you're gonna find it. It's just the first couple of years, and then after that you're like, you have a title and just keep going. Huh? Yeah, tech artist or whatever. With smaller companies, it's easier to put different hats on and do different things. It's a better learning opportunity too. When you go into a very big company, like corporate, like, I don't know, Zynga or Adobe or something like that, there are so many people and everyone's doing this specific thing. Like, for example, Facebook, there's a team dedicated to that notification of them. All they do every day is notification. It's a team. And it's very important. It's one of the most important features of Facebook. You want to make sure that you see the notifications. And if the notifications fail, they're going to lose revenue, right? So don't start there. Start in smaller teams. And then find what you're good at and then evolve.
How often do you find yourself working with like people that are not experienced in development? Outside, like artists that don't necessarily work with that, or maybe like architects, or any other field that's not necessarily like directly related to technology, but then you kind of like work with them to create some kind of installation or something like that.
Unity is new. It's just a couple of years that it just blew up. People never used Unity unless they were building a game. Now people use Unity for everything, right? So you see like all these people who spent like years and years doing things outside of Unity, Maya, C4D or whatever. And now they have to bring it to Unity. They have to find a way to do it. And it's a different world for them. They don't know how to do it. So you have to help them, usually. Yeah. And if you're the one in the team who knows both, it's golden, man. Everyone's gonna come to you.
So, when you were like first starting off, or like doing like, or even now when you do like your personal like projects, is like your mentality going into that, is it more of a like, I'm putting this out there to like showcase who I am, or is it more of the like, I'm putting this out there for everyone to enjoy sort of idea?
Cool. Usually, like, if it's a personal project, the reason that you're doing it is that you're either like super excited about something that you want to do something. Like Magic Leap came out, right? I just bought one. Friday they're gonna bring it. I'm super excited. So I'm gonna do a personal project for it, right? Regardless of how good that headset is. It's just cool to use it. And then when you're done, you wanna like show it to other people, right? And then maybe like share your experience. Yeah. But mostly like personal projects are great ways to learn new things. You guys have Magic?
I've heard so much bad reviews from it. I was gonna buy one, but I heard such bad reviews that I was like, I'll just wait for the HoloLens too.
Give me the rundown.
Yeah, the HoloLens, yeah, it's not as good as they advertised it.
You tried the HoloLens too?
No, not yet. It's not. Nobody knows.
Oh, no, the Magic Leap. You should need that.
Magic Leap, I just bought one. I'll tell you guys by Saturday. Yeah, we'll see. It should be very similar to HoloLens.
Yeah.
Should be.
13 degrees.
I think HoloLens, being a couple of years old, has better tech. Like the cameras that it has, the IR sensing cameras. Magic Leap has eye tracking.
I've heard that all the features are really cool, but later the experience when you're with the headset is not as awesome.
It's a. Maybe we're just a bit.
No, it's
No, I've heard of people develop, but yeah, already has.
it's not a final product. It's just like a prototype. Yeah, you always look for those because if you find the answer to that question, you'll be famous, right? If you build something that's super cool and everyone is like, wow.
I'm not talking about finished final product.
Okay.
It's just the data sets or.
So for this one, I'm gonna, since like it has eye tracking, I'm gonna do something with eye tracking. So analytics is very important, right? Imagine if you knew how many percentages of the people are looking at a certain part of your game. So if you heat map your game and kind of like analyze how people are actually playing it, you can improve so much, right? How many times people looked at this thing that I put there? It's pretty cool, right? Like knowing what actually people are looking at. And then the other thing is like translating that from the digital to physical. So imagine if I'm a disabled person and I can't move, what if I could just look at the lamp and turn it on or off, right? Like mapping the actual physical world to the digital so you can do IoT. I think that would be cool too. So.
We also talked about retail. That's also very nice. Was rethinking of the retail space.
Yeah.
So in a
I
sense,
think it's gonna be like a digital retail.
Didn't you do an eye tracking thing with the HoloLens, moving a drone? But you were using an external eye tracker.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It was like that big HoloLens and another big thing. Yeah.
Last one. So, say you finish a product and then you kind of get like feedbacks or critiques from like all sorts of users or clients. Like how do you know what I'm talking about? Or like when when a complex comes in, how do you solve it?
Oh, when you get shitty comments.
It's like you can't say, oh, it's not something.
It's always valuable, dude.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you hear something and you think it's stupid, but if you change your perspective and put yourself in their shoes and think the way they think, you know, like for example, it's a 70-year-old person giving you a comment.
Yeah.
You will be like, okay, whatever. But if that 70-year-old person is part of the demographic of your audience and is paying for your product, you want to make sure that they feel good about whatever you're building too, because that's part of your revenue and it's important. So maybe your work is too complicated for them. It's just an example, right? But yeah, it's always, comments are always good. And you don't want to wait till the product is finished for a second to get feedback. You want to prototype, release alpha or like private beta or whatever, and get the feedback and then continue.
Do you usually have
I think you have to reach constantly. after a while, like, you have to like also put them to reason. Yeah. But yeah, that happens if you keep doing what you love and do great work.
So very much.
Yeah.
The format of your lecture was really fantastic because I think it was really refreshing to see you actually show us the back end, especially the design teaching those students. So thank you so much, and just give them a round of applause.